Hi everybody and welcome. My name's McClunan and I'm a counselling astrologer and life coach. And I'm coming to you today to give you an update, a little astrology update or energy update if you like, on what's going on in the next while, starting with the new moon on the 23rd of April, early hours of the 23rd in South Africa, 4:30 around about. And if you live elsewhere in the world, you can just look it up. It might be the night before. New moons are always a time to plant new seeds. So each month, just like in the natural kingdom, when we want to plant seeds, we plant them in a waxing moon cycle or at new moon, and those seeds are more likely to take. In addition to that, though, new moons and full moons, they signify different parts of our cycles. And the new moon part is the beginning of a whole month's cycle. So it's not just about the day of the new moon. A lot of people think it is, but it really isn't. What we do is we draw up a chart for that new moon, which then sets the chart in place for that month. So it's quite important. So we have a look and see what's actually going to be happening in that month and what the energy of the beginning of this new lunar month is. So this month's quite interesting. It's very in keeping with where we find ourselves, which is no surprise because we are obviously in concert with the universe all the time, and the universe is in concert with us. So as on the outside, so on the inside, the macrocosm and the microcosm. So when we look at the new moon this time round, the new moon is in Taurus, which means that the sun and the moon come together in the same sign at the same degree. That signifies the new moon. So if we look at just that on its own, new moon in Taurus is one of the most beautiful places to have a new moon. Taurus is a fixed earth sign, and it's all about nurturing, nourishing, stability, security, earthing, grounding, really connecting with nature, connecting with the moment, slowing down, relishing in the senses, the five senses, really connecting at a deeper level with our souls. So that's very Taurus. Taurus is very much about keeping the status quo, staying the same, not too many changes, not too many sudden changes. Taurus is not crazy about that. So at a normal new moon in Taurus, we would just be relishing in the moment, in our freedom to possibly slow down and to connect with ourselves on a deeper level. So that's one element of this new moon. It's also about, it brings into question what we are grateful for and what we truly value. And so the intentions are kind of around those themes. So at new moon and full moon, we tend to actually, those kind of themes tend to come into our consciousness or our awareness more. Now this one is quite interesting because it is conjunct, or what we call very close together, with a planet called Uranus, which is the planet of change. And it has a very, very, very different energy to Taurus. So Uranus has been entered into Taurus last year, and basically it came with it a whole lot of changes in our earth, in our relationship with earth. And it was one of the precursors to the situation that we found ourselves in, because Taurus in a global sense represents our earth. It's earth. And Uranus comes in and says, well, what isn't working? Because whatever is not working is going to have to change, because Uranus is the planet of change. So what we find with Uranus coming into this equation is it's kind of an uneasy energy. It's basically the force of change, which is a little bit like a thunderbolt that comes in and actually breaks through that nice, settled, beautiful, gentle soil to actually see what's underneath, to actually bring about change. So on the one hand, we've got this very beautiful, soft, gentle, nourishing energy. On the other hand, we've got the planet Uranus, which is coming in and saying, okay, what needs to change? So it could actually result in us feeling a little, say, maybe unstable, a little bit sort of that our status quo has been hammered, which has happened already. We can feel a little bit more rattled. And what's been happening recently for all of us is that the status quo has been rattled. We do find ourselves sort of shaking our heads in disbelief as to what's just happened on our planet. I don't think any of us could have actually seen this coming. And many of us are questioning that in terms of what is it actually, and what are we meant to be doing with it. So when you look at Uranus, Uranus is also associated with rebellion. It's the planet that's associated with revolution. It demands freedom. It is concerned with awakening and consciousness, and is a very sort of, I march to the beat of my own drum, and this drum isn't so good kind of energy. So when Uranus is connected, as it is right now, with the moon and the sun, it basically starts to bring out that sort of slightly more, call it revolutionary energy, or evolutionary energy, if you like, where we start to actually question. So I would say that we're probably going to start questioning the mainstream media particularly. So if you watch a lot of the mainstream media, you don't have to start watching conspiracy stuff, but question whether the narrative that you're actually listening to really resonates with your soul. And if it doesn't, just have a look and see what's out there, because there's a lot of information from very qualified people giving us another perspective. And then it's up to us to make our own choices in terms of what we believe to be true or not. So it's about questioning that mainstream. After the new moon, the sun is actually going to catch up with Uranus as well on about the 26th. So I think that we're going to see quite a lot more people protesting, a lot of people feeling more uncomfortable with the restrictions that have been imposed on them. And many of those are people who are literally unable to pay their bills or buy food. So, it goes from that level right up to completely different levels of awareness and what is being triggered. But it's most certainly a triggering uncertainty about our financial situation, about the economy, about our way we earn our living, and about the future. So that's the one thing that is happening, and will be kind of a theme that carries us through some of the month. I think that Taurus is really asking us to slow down and connect and ground. So I would say that what we need to really be doing here is really putting our roots down in something that's more stable, that's more secure than the passing winds of change, which seem to be changing every day. So that would come via time spent on your own, time spent in nature if you're able to, grounding yourself, taking your shoes off and actually just putting your feet on the ground. That sort of grounds this electrical energy that we'll be feeling at this time, because Uranus is quite an electrically charged energy. So if you're feeling that sort of electric charge, go outside and discharge. So lie on the grass if you can, lie on the ground, get some sunlight. I think we can see ourselves as plants or trees at the moment and ask ourselves, what's our soil like? Does it need more nourishment? Does it need more water? Does it need more gentleness? Does it need more air? Does it need to be aerated so that whatever plants and seeds that we're planting actually take, and they can absorb those nutrients? Does it maybe need more sunlight? So really looking to see what needs to be nurtured inside ourselves in terms of our soil, and sort of putting our roots further down than ever before. So if you haven't been meditating, meditate a little bit more. If you haven't been doing some maybe stretching exercises, do that more, and you'll find that that'll actually help you ground. Obviously, bringing yourself into the present moment is non-negotiable. As soon as you can, as often as you can, particularly if fears come up, and fears are coming up. And I think it's not to see that as a judgment. So if a fear comes up, just notice it, acknowledge it. If you need to work with it, if you need to process it, That's fine. If you need to just feel it, that's fine. Try not to stay there though. So in terms of what you're feeding yourself, in terms of what you're feeding yourself physically, what you're feeding yourself in terms of information, be cognizant of what you're feeding yourself. And if you are looking at a lot of the news, a lot of the news is fear-driven. So our vibration shifts when we listen to that all the time. So I would say what I'm doing is I'm limiting the amount of time that I spend looking at YouTube videos or different news sites. I'm limiting it. I'm definitely staying aware and awake. I think that's important. I think we need to be informed as best we can, but we don't need to live there. We don't need to stay there. So I think the message of this new moon is live in the present, live grounded, live in the security of yourself, build that, because that's what's actually going to get us through the next while, the next few months, the next few years possibly. I do see this as a time of great change, and I don't think that change comes without adversity. So adversity kind of breaks the shell of what remains to be broken open so that we can really heal and shift into a new paradigm, whatever that will look like for us and the planet. So I would like to suggest and leave you with this as a potential, is to ask yourself at this new moon what you really value and how you can give more value, give that more value, who you really value, and how you can actually show that they value you. What changes would you like to see in your life at a soul level, not necessarily a physical level? We've realized that we're not very much in control on the physical level. So what changes would you like to see happen inside you? What would you really, really, really like in your life? How would you like to feel? That's what we can actually work with, because we have control of how we feel. So that's my intention. That would be my intention for this new moon, is how do I want to feel? And then use that as the ground. Nourish that. So if you want to feel more peaceful, nourish that. Give that more time. If you want to feel more grounded, give that more time. If you want to feel more freedom, then find ways of actually accessing that as a vibration during this time within us, within you. You can also ask what intentions you'd like to set for the planet in terms of changing, bringing change to the planet. How can you bring about change? It might mean that you just reach out to someone who really needs a kind voice, or you put your own podcast together, or you share something uplifting on social media. Ask how you can actually add value and what you would like to see for the planet. So that's about it, I think. Set those intentions. They're always best set at new moon or just after that. John and I will be doing another live call. We're doing one at the moment twice a week on Facebook, and we'll be doing another one on Wednesday evening at 7:30, and it'll be on John Homewood's page. So just at 7:30, grab a cup of tea or something and join us, and we're going to be discussing this as a theme a little more and giving some practical tools, and also leading you through a new moon meditation. So it'll be an intention setting meditation. So join us. We look forward to that. And we also are launching next week a brand new 12-week course called Journey to Freedom, which is an inside job. And we feel that it's greatly needed right now. So we've kind of cancelled some of our other plans and brought this forward. It'll be a 12-week journey with a bonus week of foundational teachings. And to find out more about that, because we're offering it at half the price because of lockdown. So to find out more about that, visit journeysofAwakening.com, and you'll be able to read all about it. And if you have any queries, you're very welcome to contact either John or myself. And on that site, there's also a resources page, which we've called the treasure chest, where we are putting up the videos of our calls afterwards so that you have access to them, as well as teachings and beautiful things that we're coming across to lift us, to nourish us, to guide us, to help us on this journey. We're awakening as a planet, and we're awakening as human beings. Thank goodness. So rather let's see it in that light, rather than all the restrictions that we might be feeling. Just see it as something that we need. We need this. We need change. So that's a good reminder. We look forward to seeing you maybe on one of our live calls. Take care and look after yourself.